There is a reason why silence feels uncomfortable to most people. The moment the noise disappears, something unexpected happens. You begin to hear yourself. Not the version of yourself presented to the world. Not the carefully constructed identity built from achievements, status, or validation. But the deeper self. The self hidden beneath distractions. And that is precisely why so many people spend their lives avoiding silence. They fill every empty moment with something. Music, television, scrolling, conversations, notifications, constant stimulation, anything to avoid being alone with their own thoughts. Yet the Stoics believed silence was not something to fear. It was something to cultivate. Because silence is where wisdom grows. Silence is where emotional storms lose their power. Silence is where clarity emerges. And in a world addicted to noise, silence becomes a form of strength. A rare strength. Perhaps even a revolutionary one. Today we explore 10 Stoic lessons on the power of silence and how silence can help you remain calm in a chaotic world. The #lesson 1 silence reveals who you really are. Most people know how to perform. They know how to impress. They know how to appear confident. But remove the audience. Remove the distractions. Remove the noise. And suddenly, a different person appears. The Stoics believed silence acts like a mirror. It reveals the state of your inner world. When people avoid silence, they often avoid it because silence exposes uncomfortable truths, hidden fears, unresolved regrets, anxiety, loneliness, insecurity. The mind becomes louder when the world becomes quieter, and that can feel frightening. But the Stoics understood something profound. You cannot heal what you refuse to face. Silence forces confrontation, not with the world, with yourself. And while that confrontation may initially feel uncomfortable, it is also where transformation begins. Because self-awareness is impossible without moments of stillness. The path toward wisdom always starts with honest observation. And honest observation requires silence. Lesson 2, noise creates confusion. Modern society rewards constant engagement. Everyone is speaking. Everyone is reacting. Everyone is expressing opinions. But very few people are actually thinking. The Stoics recognize that a noisy mind becomes a confused mind. When information enters continuously, reflection disappears. And without reflection, wisdom cannot develop. Most emotional reactions happen because people never pause long enough to think. They react instantly to criticism, to bad news, to social media, to fear. But silence creates distance between stimulus and response. And within that distance, reason becomes possible. A calm person is not someone who experiences less chaos. A calm person is someone who creates enough silence to think clearly amidst chaos. The world grows louder every year. That is why silence becomes increasingly valuable. Or say, K3 kola, a self. Lesson 3. Silence I is stronger than reaction. Weakness reacts. Strength observes. This lesson appears throughout Stoic philosophy. Someone insults you. The instinctive response is retaliation. Defend yourself. Attack back. Prove your worth. But the Stoics asked a different question. Why give someone else control over your emotional state? The moment another person's words dictate your emotions, they gain power over you. Silence interrupts that process. Silence creates freedom. Not every criticism deserves a response. Not every misunderstanding requires correction. Not every battle deserves participation. The strongest person in the room is often the one speaking the least, because they are not trying to prove themselves. They already know who they are, and certainty rarely needs to shout. Oddity. Lesson 4. Inner peace I is born I in silence. Most people search for peace externally. A better job, more money, a different relationship, a different city. But the Stoics understood that peace is fundamentally an internal experience. And internal peace requires internal stillness. A constantly stimulated mind cannot rest. Even when the body stops moving, the mind continues racing. Past mistakes, future worries, endless mental noise. Silence interrupts this cycle. Not instantly. At first, silence often feels louder than noise, because suppressed thoughts begin to surface. But gradually something changes. The mind slows. Thoughts lose urgency. Perspective returns. And within that stillness, peace begins to emerge. Not because life becomes easier, but because the mind becomes calmer. Lesson 5. Silence teaches emotional mastery. Emotions demand immediate expression. Anger wants action. Fear wants escape. Frustration wants release. But the Stoics practiced restraint, not suppression. Restraint. There is an important difference. Suppression ignores emotion. Restraint observes emotion without obeying it. Silence creates this possibility. When anger arises, silence provides space. When fear appears, silence creates observation. When anxiety grows, silence prevents impulsive reaction. The disciplined mind learns something extraordinary. An emotion can exist without controlling behavior. This realization changes everything. Because emotional mastery does not mean becoming emotionless. It means refusing to become emotionally enslaved. And silence is one of the most powerful tools for developing that freedom. Lesson 6. Silence exposes the ego. The ego constantly seeks attention, recognition, validation, approval, the need to be right, the need to be admired, the need to be heard. The Stoics viewed these desires with suspicion, because dependence on external validation creates instability. Silence weakens the ego when nobody is watching, when nobody is applauding, when nobody is validating you. Who are you? Many people discover that much of their behavior is driven by the desire for approval. Silence reveals this, and once revealed, it can be transformed. The Stoic seeks self-respect over admiration, character over reputation, truth over applause. These values become clearer in silence, because silence removes the audience, and what remains is authenticity. Lesson 7. WISS 7. WISS speaks less. There is an interesting pattern throughout history. The wisest people are rarely the loudest. They listen more, observe more, reflect more. The Stoics believe that excessive speech often reveals insecurity. People speak constantly because they fear being overlooked. They fear appearing uninformed. They fear silence itself. But wisdom does not fear silence. Wisdom understands that words have value precisely because they are limited. A person who speaks endlessly weakens the impact of their speech. A person who speaks carefully strengthens it. This is why silence is not emptiness. It is preparation. The pause before meaningful words. The space where thought becomes refined. The environment where wisdom develops. Lesson 8. Silence creates resilience. One reason people become overwhelmed by chaos is because they never practice stillness. The nervous system becomes addicted to stimulation. And without stimulation, discomfort appears. The Stoics intentionally practiced solitude and reflection. Not because they hated people, but because resilience requires independence. A person unable to sit alone peacefully becomes dependent on distraction. And dependence creates vulnerability. Silence trains self-sufficiency. It teaches the mind, I do not need constant stimulation to be okay. This lesson becomes invaluable during difficult times because external stability eventually disappears, relationships change, careers change, circumstances change. But a person comfortable in silence carries stability within themselves, and that stability becomes a source of strength. Lesson 9. Silence deepens gratitude. Noise encourages consumption. Silence encourages appreciation. When life slows down, details become visible. The sound of rain, the warmth of sunlight, a meaningful conversation, a quiet evening. Simple experiences gain significance. The Stoics regularly reflected on impermanence. They understood that everything eventually disappears, and this awareness transformed ordinary moments into precious ones. Silence supports gratitude because silence creates attention. Most people miss life's beauty because they are distracted, not because beauty is absent, but because noise prevents awareness. Silence sharpens awareness, and awareness deepens gratitude. Lesson 10. Become the still point in a moving world. The ultimate lesson of Stoicism is not avoiding chaos, it is remaining calm within it. The world will continue changing. News cycles will continue creating panic. People will continue arguing. Problems will continue appearing. Chaos is permanent. But inner chaos is optional. The Stoics sought to become like the eye of storm, still while everything moved, centered while everything shifted, stable while everything changed. Silence was their path toward this stability, because silence creates perspective. Silence creates clarity. Silence creates emotional freedom. And emotional freedom creates resilience. The goal is not escaping the world. The goal is engaging with the world without becoming consumed by it. That is the power of silence. Conclusion. In a noisy world, silence becomes a rare form of wisdom. Most people spend their lives running from silence. They fear what they might discover there. But the Stoics walked toward it because they understood that silence is not emptiness. It is a teacher, a mirror, a refuge, a source of strength. Within silence, the mind learns patience. Within silence, emotions lose their tyranny. Within silence, wisdom becomes possible. And perhaps the greatest lesson of all is this: you do not need to control the world to find peace. You do not need perfect circumstances. You do not need everyone to understand you. Sometimes all you need is the courage to sit quietly with yourself, to listen, to observe, to remain still while chaos moves around you. Because in the end, silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of understanding. And understanding is where true calm begins.